All right, so I was watching this video just a few minutes ago, and New York Giants fan Michael Rappaport was on the panel with Skip Bayless, and they're discussing Odell Beckham Jr. I didn't even have to look at the video to know this is gonna go well. All right, so I'm gonna let it play.
What do you make of all this? What does it tell you?
It tells me that if the New York Giants somehow, for some reason, needed the Patriots and Bill Belichick to validate Odell Beckham's greatness, I'm more concerned than I was before I knew this. I didn't need Belichick. I didn't need my cousin. I didn't need my nephew to tell me that we have a Ferrari. Okay? And I was on this show, on the front lines, when Ben McAdoo, who I called the Wackadoo, sat Eli Manning. I was offended by it. I didn't like how it went down.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. And this is why the Giants, until Eli retires, the Giants won't give up on Eli. And he'll be there. He will be there. He won't go anywhere. Because of guys like this. He won't go anywhere. And that's what's holding the Giants back. The Giants should have moved on years ago. But when Ben McAdoo sat Eli Manning, because I remember when it happened, it seemed like everybody went off, man. Like, everybody was like, what are you doing? He a two-time Super Bowl champion. I believe he won both MVPs. Two-time Super Bowl MVP. Like, what are you doing? It's disrespectful. You shouldn't have done this. And this is why the Giants will never move on until Eli moves on or until they find a player that the fans love better. Like, if they draft a quarterback that the fans love better or they think gives them a better chance to win, so they'll choose that player, that's when it's safe for them to move on from Eli. They can't move on from Eli unless they have a plan, in the fans' mind, unless they have somebody that they can actually move on to that'll make them feel comfortable. This has been like 5 years, man, where you got to ask them, yo, you're a New York Giants fan. Do you think Eli gives you the best chance to win? Any of them say yes, they're full of shit. You have to move on from this guy. And this team should have moved on from him years ago. But they couldn't. They could not. Because they knew idiots like this will get in a fucking, will go on Twitter, will go on Instagram, will just go crazy. Getting all these fucking simpleton fans riled up. And now you got a big ass backlash over Eli Manning.
And that was my sentimentality. But McAdoo, the Wackadoo, was correct. And I'll say this, Skip, and you know way more about this. If we start the season with Eli Manning as our starting quarterback, and we have this Ferrari, who we know has been temperamental, we know he's gotten injured, but you need to have a Ferrari with that kind of engine. It needs to be let loose every now and then. For the last 2 seasons, it hasn't been able to be let loose because there's no one who could throw the ball downfield. It is time, unfortunately, to really, the hard facts is we cannot start another season. It's been 2 seasons too many with Eli Manning as our starting quarterback.
No. It's been 3-4 seasons since the year after they won the Super Bowl in 2011, 2012. The next season. After that season, it's been 1 season too many. And it just piled on year after year. They should have moved on years ago. Years ago. Not a couple years ago. Years ago. Even that time they went to the fucking playoffs. They had a run game that was somewhat sound. The offensive line wasn't as bad. The defense was pretty fucking good. That was when Landon Collins was at the top of his game and he was a top 5 safety. So you can't really say that Eli was the reason why they made the playoffs or he was a huge piece of why they made the playoffs. No. He just went along for the ride, man. How Peyton went along for the ride to with Denver's trip to the Super Bowl. Eli went along for that playoff run. He went along for the ride. And unfortunately, they still didn't let this dude go. That's the unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is that they might have to let him go. The unfortunate thing is they held on to him so long, you're putting yourself in the fucking hole. You're drafting all these late round picks. Everybody thinks that they're going to pick the next fucking Tom Brady, the next Drew Brees, the next Russell Wilson. The chances of you doing that are damn near astronomical, man. Like, I don't think anybody will ever draft a quarterback. The closest anybody has ever come was Dallas when they signed Tony Romo, an undrafted fucking free agent, undrafted rookie free agent. That was as close as anybody's going to get to that late, or not even being drafted and turning into a fucking all-pro caliber quarterback. So they continuously, year after year, shoot themselves in the foot. And then they want to blame Odell Beckham like he's the fucking problem. He's not. If you go to work and your job is dependent on somebody else doing their job just as well as you do in order for you to be fucking successful, and the person that does their job with you fucking sucks at what they do, and it causes you or your job performance to be affected because of their fucking incompetence, you'll be fucking pissed too. You'll be pissed too. It's like being a trash man having to go pick up people's trash and nobody puts their fucking trash out. And then when you fucking drive by, then they want to bring the fucking trash out, and then you gotta back all the way the fuck back up. I've seen this shit happen. Where now trash men will just fucking ignore your shit like it's not even there. So come on, man. Like, Odell Beckham's job is dependent on Eli being able to do his job. And Eli can't do his job because he's not good at it anymore. There's a question if he was ever really good at it in the first place. He had 2 unbelievable playoff runs, and everybody built his career like it's some Hall of Fame resume off of those 2 playoff runs. And if you play as long and as much as Eli played, you'll rack up passing yards, passing touchdowns as well.
So it's very concerning to me. It's weird that they needed that validation from the Patriots. I don't know who you trade for an Odell Beckham, because he's one of the top 5 football players on offense or defense in the league right now.
No, he's not. Jesus Christ. No, he's not. Eli is a top 5 receiver. In my opinion, he's number 2. There's no way. Look, Julio Jones is a phenomenal football player, but he is way too fucking inconsistent. Like, he'll have 1 300-yard game, and then he'll have 2 games where he barely touches 100 yards or a touchdown. Like in the Super Bowl. And for some reason, in the Super Bowl, these fucking phenomenal players, Julio Jones, the fucking Seahawks defense, or this year, Aaron Donald, like, you know, these phenomenal fucking players, in the big moments, they don't show up. That seriously impacts your fucking standing when it comes to player rankings. Julio Jones is behind Odell Beckham Jr. And look, I know at least Julio got to the Super Bowl. But look at who fucking, like, he's playing with Matt Ryan, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper, that offensive line, that defense. Like, Julio right now got it made, man. Like, this dude got it so made that he don't even have to show up for some games. His team will play well even if he doesn't show up. But him showing up is just icing on the cake. Odell has to play out of his mind almost every single game for this team to have a chance to win. And that's why they're throwing all the blame on him. It's like, nigga, why are you not doing more? And I use the N-word, man, because that's how they're looking at it. Like, you need to be doing more. You're the fucking superhuman athlete who can jump the fuck out the gym and, you know, grab down passes with one hand and shit, make it look easy. Why don't you do more? And that's the tone you hear from people, is why is he not doing more? what he's doing is not enough, and it's not helping the team win. So therefore, he's one of the reasons why the team is losing, which is fucking ridiculous, man.
Did he change your life last year? No. You can argue that the quarterback is not capable of changing your life, right?
Can't even throw the ball down the field.
No shit, Captain Obvious.
I love this man, Eli Manning, but it's time to go.
He won you 2 rings.
He won me 2
Beat
rings.
Tom Brady twice.
Not once. No, twice. He beat him.
Yeah, Eli Manning was instrumental in the New York Jets beating the New England Patriots. It had nothing to do with their defense, who was smothering, putting hats on fucking Tom Brady like it was nothing. Or it wasn't the fact that the New England Patriots defense was just giving up fucking some of the most ridiculous plays. Rodney Harrison, instead of playing a receiver, obviously should have played the ball in that situation. Just bat the fucker down. You trying to be physical for no reason. Just bat the ball down. Why are you trying to hit the fucking receiver? Just bat the ball down. You're in position. Put your hand out and smack the shit away, instead of trying to knock it out of his hands. And that defense was old, man. If you go back and you look at that 07 team, yeah, they were running the table on the motherfuckers, but that defense was old, man. We had Junior Seau, Teddy Bruschi, Rodney Harrison. Our defense was old. They were old and slow. But if you game plan the right way, they can be impactful with their football knowledge. Their football IQ was the reason why they were so effective for those 18 games. But now you're playing against a Giants team who's younger, hungrier, and their defensive line was impactful. Their defensive line, both Super Bowls, was the reason why they won those games, man. Their offense really wasn't doing shit. Like, the games were close. It was the defense. It was the defense putting a hat on Brady. Like, that shit is true. If you put faces, defensive faces, in the face of Tom Brady with no blockers, or with the blocking breaking down, you can get to him. What was it? Make him tap dance. If you make him tap dance in the pocket, you can get to him. And it will throw him off his game. But that goes for any quarterback, man. That is a pocket quarterback, stationary quarterback. If you put hats on them, you force them out of their comfort zone. So, look, man, the Giants won. Congratulations to them. But that don't make Eli a great quarterback. That don't make him a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm sorry.
Twice. But
And if Eli gets in there, Romo should be in the fucking Hall of Fame. Real shit. Romo was a top 5 quarterback for 10 years of his professional career. In my opinion, man, this dude was he was one of the top passing leaders in the NFL almost year after year.
But it was, you start to think, like, what year was it? It was a while ago.
True.
It's time. We can't start the season with Eli Manning as our starting quarterback. We can't do it. Eli Manning should bench himself. He should know, like, I don't have it. And it's gonna be detrimental to Saquon Barkley at a certain point, because they're gonna be like, well, we know
Why would Eli do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, right now, you want Eli to make the job easier for the front office and to make it easy for you guys to move on from him. As long as Eli is still being exalted for those 2 titles that he won 7 years ago, or at least 7 years ago, and he's still being praised as one of the greatest fucking New York Giants players of all time, why would he quit? Why would he quit? Nobody would quit, especially when people fucking love you. Why would he quit, man?
can't throw it down the field to Odell. We could start, dealing to stop Saquon, and then that shuts him down. And both these guys are healthy. These are 2 Ferraris. So, Skip, I don't know where to go with this.
Even if you do draft Dwayne Haskins or...
And also to comment on what Rappaport just said. teams were trying to stop Saquon last year. And for, a nice sizable chunk of it, they did somewhat limit what he was able to do. But there were times where, like, it just looked like it was nothing the defense could do. They could stack the box. This dude would find openings somewhere. Like, I talk about Odell Beckham's footwork, man. Footwork is important in the NFL, man, because being able to separate and find openings and hit a spot quick and, being able to separate yourself from the defense is important for, that's what New England receivers do. Like, when you see, like, Edelman or Amendola or Chris Hogan, when they catch the ball, the first thing they do is they turn facing upfield, they look to see where the defense is at, and they try to make a move immediately. That's what James White does. He'll catch the ball on the flat, he'll fucking evade the first tackler by getting low, and then he'll try to stretch out for a few more yards. Like, and it forces the defense to play a certain way. It forces them to play a certain way every single time. And, it's hard to stop that. When you have somebody slippery, Odell Beckham is slippery. Saquon is slippery, man. Like, they get the ball with a little bit of daylight, man. They can find a way to stretch that bitch out. And that's what makes them special, man. That's to me, that's what makes them special. Like, some of the runs I've seen Saquon do when he was at Penn State was, Jesus, they were phenomenal, man.
Heaven forbid, Kyler Murray. No. I don't know. Okay, but if you do draft one of those kid quarterbacks, aren't you still going to be stuck with Eli for a little while?
Yes.
Right?
The great Patrick Mahomes.
This is funny coming from Skip Bayless, the guy who's a diehard Cowboys fan. When the Cowboys drafted Dak Prescott and Tony Romo went down with an injury before the season started, they threw Dak Prescott in there from game one. And this dude managed to not fuck up anything, and they went 13-3. And Skip Bayless was over the moon over this guy, and comparing him to Tom Brady. And then what happened the second year? He wasn't as good. It don't matter if you sit for a year. It doesn't matter if you start immediately. Your true talent comes out regardless. Your true talent comes out regardless. And yeah, it may help for you to sit longer, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be ready when the time comes and you have to be put in there. They need to get somebody in there. Shit, even if the front office doesn't want to start the quarterback or the rookie quarterback, whoever they draft, they can fucking try to find a way to get Tyrod Taylor. Jacoby Brissett is still in Indianapolis. I mean, you have backup quarterbacks that you can bring in. I mean, fucking San Fran has two quarterbacks back in Jimmy Garoppolo that giving her like shit. That's what the Giants could do. They could trade for that kid Nick Mullins. You trade for Nick Mullins, you bring him in, then you draft a quarterback somewhere in the draft. You put him behind Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins played pretty fucking well, seeing as how nobody knew his fucking name before he started. And I think his first game he played against the Oakland Raiders, still, for a guy playing his first game, he played pretty phenomenally. So, I don't know. I mean, you could bring somebody in. You don't have to start the kid immediately if that's not what they want to do. But you need to move on from Eli. I don't give a fuck, man. You could sign a goddamn hobo off the street. As long as he could throw a fucking 10-yard out or a fucking deep pass. That's better than fucking Eli. Like, seriously, at this point. So, they need to figure out something, man.
Holmes, he sat an entire year.
A whole year. It probably served him well, I must say. It served Aaron Rodgers well to wait 3 years. It just does.
So yes, both those guys, potentially, we can't start the season with a rookie quarterback. It'll be worse than having Eli there.
Because of the offensive line. Like I said, man, it doesn't matter. They need to work on that. That line needs to come first. People keep talking about you need to draft a quarterback. That line needs to be fixed. You either sign a few more offensive linemen off the street, or you fucking draft some offensive linemen, but you need to fix that offensive line. Like, Indianapolis was terrible until they were able to fix the offensive line. And now their team's a playoff team. And the Cowboys. The Cowboys sucked for years. Once they fixed that offensive line, they were serious playoff threats.
Problem with Odell. And I do like him personally. He gets mad at me because he thinks this gets personal, but it's not personal.
Because you do that. Skip Bayless is one of those guys that'll say something, and it'll sound innocent. It'll sound fucking innocent, but it's extremely like what's the word I'm looking for? Visceral. Like he's very antagonistic, man. Like I don't know. Like a lot of his points he made about LeBron James were true. I mean, I agree with a lot of them. But to say that this dude did it to make LeBron a better player, no. He did it because he knew that it would get to LeBron. Because LeBron cares about his image. LeBron focuses on all the criticism that people have about him. And a lot of people believe that Skip Bayless was the reason why LeBron was so timid earlier in his career when it came to like clutch time and big games and shit like that. Skip Bayless is one of those dudes, man. Like he spends a lot of his time running his mouth saying everything he can about people. But he knows there's really nothing they can fucking do about it in return, so he just keeps running his fucking mouth.
You're Ferrari, and he is top of the line Ferrari. He winds up in the shop too much because he needs tune-ups almost every Sunday. Because something sets him off. The littlest thing can send him completely over the edge. And when he goes over the edge, he is a lost cause. I agree. Because you get tirades, you get tantrums.
No, listen. I already said this. Odell Beckham Jr. has the same issue that Antonio Brown has. A lack of a strong culture in that locker room. A lack of a strong tradition in that locker room. Since Tom Coughlin left the New York Giants, I believe they had 3 head coaches in the last 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, something like that. It's 2019. I'll say 5 years. They had 3 head coaches. 3 head coaches that came in and I don't know. I know Ben McAdoo was very critical, man. And also, was it Pat Shermer or was it Pat Shermer the current? No, Pat Shermer, man. Like, Pat Shermer's comments last year towards Odell Beckham Jr., I thought were a little out of line. I mean, look, Odell is most of these young guys that come into the NFL has emotional issues. It's no mystery. Everybody knows this. The one thing you can do to start to change that and to help them become better men and better football players is a strong culture in the locker room, man. Everybody has to be held to the same standard. Everybody, not just the players, front office. Everybody needs to be held to the same standard. You need to show them how it's going to be and how anything less than that will not be tolerated. And the fact that they didn't do that is the reason why you have Odell Beckham now and, you know, Antonio Brown now. But still, I already said, man, I don't think since Odell got his contract, man, I think that people have just been taking shots at his character because they don't like him. You know? And I don't think that's fair, man. Because, I mean, we all have our ways of coping with shit in life. Maybe his way is doing what he does. I mean, kids nowadays, they're into social media. They're into posting shit. They're into videotaping, recording everything. You know, they're into the latest dance moves. They're into fucking, mumble rap music. Which is, that's their flow and that's how they get down. And that's fine. It's not a problem. And like I said, I don't believe Odell Beckham is a problem. Like, I don't think he's a problem in the locker room. I don't think that he's a distraction. And I don't think his teammates believe so either. So, a lot of this is nothing. It's just bloated noise.
Melodrama, you get drama. He is like LeBron, a drama king, because he sort of creates his own drama, and then once he goes over the edge into the drama, he can't seem to click it off and come back and play football, right?
I agree.
So they gave him his money. You're stuck with the money. And now I'm going to look at it from a Brady perspective. I'm a Brady fan. I'm not so much a New England fan. But I believe Odell's career would thrive at a much higher level in Foxborough than it would in the Big Apple. I'm not sure Odell was made for the Big Apple because it's just too much him. It allows Odell to be too much Odell after hours off the field.
I agree with the point, man, but the sentiment he's trying to put across is still take your shots at Odell, man. Listen, I don't think the Big Apple is for him, and the reason why I don't think New York is for him is because it's too wide open, man. There's too many people, too many eyes. There's too many opinions, too many thoughts, and he doesn't have the team there. If this team was winning, this wouldn't be a problem. If they had a great coach, this wouldn't be a problem. Like, you didn't see. I don't believe you saw all this shit when Tom Coughlin was there. That's when he left, and just the whole vibe of the fucking locker room started to change. That's when all this shit started happening. When you have a strong coach in the locker room, man, he sets the tone. He sets that standard. He leads by example. That's what makes a great leader. People think just because you own something or people is involved with something that's yours, that automatically makes you a leader. No. In order to be a leader, man, you have to be willing to set the line, and not even you are allowed to cross that line. That's what, lead by example, man. Tell them how it's going to be, and everybody has to follow this shit. Everybody, coaches, trainers, players, everybody has to follow it. That's just the way it is, and that's what Belichick does. And this is why people think that players in New England are miserable because he's so strict. No, man. He sets that standard. He doesn't allow anybody to break it. And if anybody tries to break it, they're gone. If anybody tries to break it, they're fucking sitting. So, I mean, that's the way it has to be. You have to fucking set the standard. That's what makes a great leader. A great leader is one that sets the rules, but he also follows them. Like, come on, man. Like, you have to be able to set the... I don't know. Like I said, man, I think the Giants have a lot of issues, man. They have a lot of shit they need to figure out. And Michael Rappaport is just one of those fans that he sends all the wrong messages. And teams listen to the fans, even though it may not seem like it, they listen to the fans, man. Because these are the people that are spending money on them. The people that are invested in their business. That's the reason why they can make a living the way they do. Is the people that want their product. So they have to listen to them. They have to listen to what they want. But, you know, a guy like Michael Rappaport, man, he sends all the wrong messages, man. And I believe this is why they haven't let Eli go, is because of guys like him.
He tries to live up to a social media image that is detrimental to his football performances. That's just me, because he thinks he has to play a role. He thinks, like we just talked about Tebow saying, don't let the internet define you. Don't let anybody... Odell let the media sort of tell him who he was. He's got to be Odell. He's got to be the hair. He's got to live up to all of the image as opposed to being the Ferrari, because the Ferrari, by any name, is virtually unstoppable, because when he's right, he's the rightest of all the receivers to me.
So do we hear all of this stuff about Julio Jones? When Julio Jones don't step the fuck up? When he doesn't have a good game? Do we hear this shit? No, the perception of Julio Jones is he's a great teammate, he's a great player, and that's it. Because he don't do none of that clownish buffoonery. Like, the only thing that's different are the personalities. That's it. Odell's production is the same as Julio's production. But we don't hear all this shit about that from Julio. Odell could be the best teammate there is. He could be the greatest locker room guy. He is the most talented on the field. But we hear all this negative shit. Why don't we hear the same negative shit from Julio, man? Because Julio he's not always that Ferrari.
More and more student debt is keeping people from doing what they love. Like buying a home.
To me, if he wound up in the New England culture with its structure and its work ethic and its discipline, where everybody's the same, check your ego at the door. Tom Brady checks his ego at the door. I think, and again, you don't want to hear this as a Giants fan, but I think Odell's career would take off, because they wouldn't allow the tantrums. They wouldn't allow any of it, because he would just know, if I do that one time, I'm going to be gone. The problem is that if you trade for him, and they've got a draft stockpile that they haven't had for a while, because they do have a first, they have 2 seconds, and they have a lot of later picks. So they could offer you more than probably anybody could offer you in draft picks, but then they would have to absorb a $21 million cap hit next year, which is not the Patriot way. Right. That's my problem with this whole scenario.
I don't know about that, man. Look, they gave a lot of money to Stephon Gilmore. And if we're comparing talent at the position, Odell Beckham Jr. is far more talented than Stephon Gilmore. So I'm pretty sure if Odell was able to bring something that the team doesn't have that makes them more explosive on offense, they will take him and they'll take that money. They may restructure it somewhere down the line, but they will take that money. New England is not afraid to spend the money if they have to. They just never saw a need to spend the money. The only person that they probably would have spent the money on if they asked for it was Tom Brady, but Tom doesn't want the money. You know, he enjoys playing the game. His wife is rich, and, you know, he's comfortable with the money that he has, and it helps the team win, which is all wins for him. So they'll spend the money if they see a need to, but they haven't saw a need to. People look at New England like they're penny pinchers. They're really not. They're just smart with the cap, and, you know, this is why they stay so competitive, man. Like I said, man, when you have a culture, you have to set a standard, and everybody abides by the standard. Everybody. If our best player on the team doesn't make a certain amount of money, why do you think that you're entitled to this money? So, that's what separates them from everybody else.
Would I like to see Tom Brady get Odell for the next 5 years? Oh, would I?
That's the one thing they didn't have this year.
They don't have it. And he hasn't had it really since Randy Moss.
Yes, I mean, obviously, any team would thrive with Odell Beckham, but
listen, you can't say that New England doesn't have. Listen, every team is different. New England's the system that they run. They don't need a burner downfield. They don't need a guy, you know, like Odell. They don't need him. You know, because the way they run their system is not predicated on somebody being able to take the top off the defense. But what they do need is precise route running and smart run after the catch from their receivers, man. And you have to catch the ball. Now, last year in the playoffs, like against the Chiefs and Rams, there were a lot of drops, a lot of tips. And two of the interceptions from Brady in the game against the Chiefs were off of tip passes. Well, not even tip passes. Were from receivers not catching the ball. They're bouncing off their hands. So you have to catch the ball, man. Like, so they don't need a burner downfield. They'll probably put Odell in there, and he'll probably do the same shit that Brendan Cooks was doing. Probably at a higher level.
He's right.
If he's right, but I mean, the fact that he's in his prime of his youth, and he's, even though he does get injured, the fact that he's still young and still healthy, and when he's still playing, he's still at top speed, and we're not able to use that and see that for 2 seasons now.
Yep.
I would be frustrated, and I've been on this show and I've bashed him, and I've been hard on him, but it's like we cannot start the season next year with Eli or one of these rookies. And so, I don't know, it's like you got paid.
Listen, man, everybody's hard on fucking Odell Beckham because for some reason they think that since he's the most talented player there, if the team is not winning, it's his fault. It has nothing to do with Eli, nothing to do with the defense or the offensive line. It's Odell Beckham's fault. And that's why I'm defending Odell Beckham, man, because it's not his fault. The culture in that locker room is a problem. Just like in Pittsburgh. But it's never the higher ups who are the issues. It's always the fucking lackeys, which are the players. The people who just get out there and they do their job and that's it. It's not the people that build the team, it's the people that are on the team for some reason. But one thing before I end the video. And I think the best way for Odell Beckham to prevent his injuries or prevent the amount of injuries that he's had is by working on his body as far as building up. He has to become a lot more sturdy. That means he probably has to build up his muscle mass. Who I think he should talk to, and I think a lot of players in professional sports, if they struggle at a certain thing, you need to go find the player who is best at what you're struggling at. You need to learn from them. Like I said, Alonzo Ball needs to hit up Steph Curry. Be like, hey, yo, I need you to give me some, put me through some of the workouts you do to maintain your shooting prowess, and talk to him. Same goes for Ben Simmons. I think Odell Beckham needs to go talk to T.O. and he needs to learn how to get his body in shape and stay in shape. Because T.O. is probably, at this age, probably the most physically superior wide receiver I've ever seen. Probably still now, to be honest, but he is. Yeah, so I'm in there, man. This is just another video in a long line of videos of Odell Beckham getting blamed for shit that's not even his fucking fault. All right.